There is what's called the John's A House. The John's A House is a place that on the outside of this house, on the front side on the street, it looks like just a massive house, right? You're looking at a big house. You go around the back, you're looking at a hotel, a big hotel. You go on the inside of this John's A House, and it's filled with religious memorabilia, all Christian. There'll be scriptures, there'll be crosses in the hallways and in the rooms. Why? This John's A House is intended for cancer patients. It sits right across the street. It's in the Colorado Springs. Right across the street from Rocky Mountain Cancer Center. All its patients have the option, if they live far away and or need a place simply to stay that's close to the care of Rocky Mountain Cancer Center, is this John's A House. It's beautiful. This multimillionaire set it up, and you can go in there and it's beautiful. It puts any regular hotel to shame, basically. It's a beautiful place. Well done. And I got to tell you, and it kind of goes without saying, which I never put two and two together, not until later, and also thanks to my wife for pointing it out. I mean, I'll get to that part, but anyway, you're inside this place. You see the people that are there, folks. Right? The people that are there. In fact, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Because the people that are there are in the fight of their life. Which is what I've gone through. Not trying to get emotional. I'm sorry. It's just, I can tell you, having gone through cancer myself, and my battle ain't completely over yet, but I'll talk about that in another video. And in fact, if you look for it, it'll be called a testimony video. In fact, I probably will try to get that up before you even see this. But you'll know, those of you that have followed the channel, that I've been going through the same thing. So these people are in there literally fighting for their lives. They are. The intensity, the spiritual intensity of that place is ridiculous. You got demons there that are trying to take people out. They don't care if they're Christian or not. If you're Christian, even more so. They want to knock out your call. They want to knock out your assignment, your purpose of life. They want to kill you. Of course, the people that are praying there, they're saying, God, give us a miracle. Heal us, Lord. Heal the cancer. Get rid of the cancer. The spiritual activity, folks, is insane. The spiritual intensity of that place is ridiculous. So again, on one side you got the demonic activity, you have the angelic, the heavenly angelic. On the flip side, and people praying for their lives. But I never really thought about that when I went there. I wasn't thinking that that is the kind of place that this place has been created, and what it has created there, right across the street from Rocky Mountain Cancer Center. These are your patients, or at least some of them, that are fighting for their life. And many of them lose. So it's heartbreaking. The second time I'm there at this house, this so-called house, this hotel, let me give you an idea of what's going on, the spiritual activity that's there. The second time I'm there, the first round of chemo that I went on started in August of last year, 2022. September, I'm on my second round. I go there on my second round, and I'm war, folks. I'm not going to talk about chemo or the effects that goes on you. It's horrible. So I'm wore out. War. I need a rest. I need to take a nap. It's about 5 or 6 in the evening, I should say. I go to sleep. My wife leaves. I know she's leaving. She's going to go out and wash the car or something like that. She leaves. Okay? Follow with me. Now, to give you a setup of the room, as I went to sleep, the bed's here, the door's there. So I'm laying in the bed, and the door's right there. I had fallen asleep. I later, don't know how long, really how much, it had been a while, had the privilege of being woken up to the door opening, because it wakes me up. I looked. The door opening, my wife being pushed through the door. Her hands are behind her back. Her head is being pulled. Her hair was behind her back and it was being pulled. So that's how she's going, being pushed through the door. She's looking up at the ceiling. Now this is all happening fast. There's not a lot of time to think. There wasn't a lot of contemplating going on at the moment. All I could see is my wife being shoved through the door, and this guy who my wife's looking up. I can see behind her head, this guy's looking that way. I think there probably was something down the hallway. So he's kind of, going like this as he's pushing her through the door. So he's not seeing me. And I had only two thoughts as fast as this transpired. Not a lot of time to contemplate anything. One, where's my wife's gun? My wife has a concealed carry. You mess with her, she'll blow your head off. Where's the gun? I would have thunk she would have shot the guy, but apparently this didn't go down that way. Where's the gun? Two, and this was the thought that really got me, was whatever this guy's going to do is so bad that he doesn't want to do it out there. And he's worried about, I guess, somebody seeing him or something like that, because he's not even paying attention to who's in the room. This is great, isn't it? So as I'm getting ready to leap out of bed, all of a sudden, I wake up. This whole thing goes like that. And the room is silent. Nobody's here. The door's not open. My wife's not here. And I'm like, what in the world? I don't have nightmares, folks. I don't have nightmares. And if I had nightmares, it wouldn't be like this kind of a thing. This thing threw me. And it may have thrown some of you, depending on how you understand how this exactly went down. I had fallen asleep, knew no different at any point in time, and woke up to this thing, which made me wonder, is my wife being attacked outside somewhere else, or to be careful? Another story, but just to tell you the spiritual activities going on. So that's round 2. Round 3. 3 weeks later, at the John's A house, we're calling it a night. Both of us call it. It's 11 at night. I have to get up to start my chemo in the morning. I need so you got to get up early to get there. So we've had a day. It's 11 at night. We're both tired, and I'm not falling asleep as fast as I guess my wife was. Now, to tell you about my wife, she tosses and turns all the time. She wakes me up throughout the night. It's like every time I go to sleep, she's waking me up. This was a little different. I was looking at my wife, and she was already tossing, already turning, right? And I'm like, this type of turning, this type of tossing was a little bothersome to me. I thought, okay, is she having a nightmare? Well, what do I know? What's bothering my wife in her sleep, right? So as I'm going to wake her up, I mean, I guess I'm contemplating about waking her up. I was trying to figure out if I'm going to wake her up. I'm looking at her like this, and she's about to fall off the bed as far as I could tell. And then in the kitchen, I hear this noise. Just to let you know, there was a separate room. There's a door, and then you got the kitchen area where there's kind of like a little studio area. It's a beautiful. The John's A house is beautiful on the inside, folks. So we had a separate room, and I noticed that we left the light on inside the kitchen. So I leave my wife. She's tossing and turning. She remained asleep. I'm just going to go in and turn off the light. And when I got in, went through the door, all of a sudden the light goes off. The lights went out. The best I could tell, though, all the electricity was gone, as best I could tell. So I'm like, did the house? I mean, I didn't even get to touch the light switch. So I opened the door to the hallway, and as I opened the door to the hallway, the whole place was dead. Everything, as best I can explain to you, was dead. It looked like I was looking into a place that had been abandoned for a couple years, at least, because now how do I get that impression? I don't know. There was a film of dirt. Does that make sense? If you're looking like in a haunted house, let's say it's been an abandoned house, what are you going to get? You're going to get a film of dirt everywhere across everything, right? You just go like this and you got your dirt everywhere. So there was a film of dirt. The lights were out. The place was dead. Windows were open. The curtains were kind of blowing across in the two rooms that were over there. Down the hallway, the doors open. And all I'm getting is like moonlight, as best as I could see, coming through the curtains on the other rooms. So the whole place is dead. Now, I'm assuming some of you are following that this isn't real at this point. Now, I didn't know any better, mind you. At this point, I don't know anything any better. But this is obviously not really happening as I'm seeing it. Now, I'm going to give you some interpretation as I go, or at least I'm going to come back, but I'm going to tell you something right here. The interpretation, the way I interpret dreams and visions, is the method that John Paul Jackson uses. How he interprets them, I will interpret them the same way. I've studied under the man. I've listened to the man. I can tell you his interpretations as far as things go, at least in generalities. So in other words, that was out the door, the front door, what I saw. I turned around, and now as far as John Paul Jackson's interpretations would go and generalizations, that which is behind you is behind you, is in your past. Got it? Especially when you're looking through windows of time, or doors where you enter through. What's behind you is in your past. What's in front of you is in your future. If you're looking through, like he says, if you're in your house, which your house represents you, just telling you the way John Paul Jackson interprets, and I've found them to be completely accurate. I've never heard the man miss it. Just saying, folks, you really ought to study John Paul Jackson and dreams and interpretations. In any case, the door I looked at was in front of me, and it was dead. So I turned around. I'll come back to this. I turned around, and as I looked behind me, I'm looking behind me into the room. And all of a sudden, it's like, here go the scales again. The scales kind of came down, and behind this kind of dead room that had been dead came alive. It was behind me, or in my past. In the future, I'm looking in the future of a place that's going to be dead. In the past, I look in the past, and it's still alive. All of a sudden, this came so alive. In fact, folks, I don't know how to reiterate this. I've had dreams all my life. I'm going to be 60 this year. I've never experienced anything like this. Never. I've had God dreams. Never. So I'm looking at this. It's almost like, you go from black and white and Wizard of Oz. The whole place became alive. I'm looking behind me, or now I'm looking in front of me, though it was behind me. Okay. And I say to myself immediately, I'm having a vision. I know dreams. I know how to, you've heard me say in the past, I'm having a God dream. I'm having a God dream. This, I say, I'm having a vision. I said it several, I'm having a vision. I was so excited. I'm having an open vision as far as I could tell. And I look in the room and pay attention. There is this, until I walked up to it, it was just an object. I couldn't really tell what I was looking at, even though everything was just as clear as the hands on, or the nose on my face and my hands, and everything was perfect. I know nothing other than I'm having a vision. And I'm excited because I'm having a vision. I want to have visions. God, give me a vision. And this object is strung up in the middle of the room. I walk up to it, and I can tell I'm looking at a big bird. Not Big Bird, but, Bert and Ernie. No, a big bird is hanging, strung up in the middle of the room. It's like it's strung up, and it's there in the center, hanging from the top. I go pull this thing down, and I realize I'm looking at one massive bird. And as I pull it down, I look at it, beginning to form around the bird, and it did form, is a type of box, or like a presentation case is a better way of saying it. I almost want to call it a coffin, but it wasn't. It was more like a doll presentation case. You understand what I'm saying? If any of you ever go shopping for dolls, you see the doll standing up there, and it's in this case, a presentation case, or this box, but you get to see the doll forward, and behind it's just simply a box. That's a presentation case. So I'm looking at this big, massive bird, and on it, as this case, presentation case, forms all around it, at the same time, simultaneously comes across its breast as a band with like a nameplate on it. And on the emblem, it said 2021. And then the 1 changed to a 2. So it went 2021, 2022, 2021, 2022. And as I'm holding this thing, this black, big bird, I had 2 impressions, and I knew both. One, this was an eagle, though it didn't look like an eagle. It was an eagle that looked like a raven, a dead scavenger raven. Did you hear what I said, folks? I'm looking at an eagle that looks like a raven. And again, ravens are what? Scavengers. And above me, as I happen to look up, high up, there's this big, massive frame, in this picture frame, an angelic being. And I'm looking at this angelic being, and I said to it, after it went 2021, 2022, 2021, 2022, did it twice. I asked the figure, the spiritual being in the picture, is this an eagle? Didn't answer. Asked a second time, is this an eagle? Yes, that's an eagle. And yet I knew it was an ugly raven. That's the best I could tell you. It was a raven. And as I looked to my right, there was a door. This door was big, and it was open, and I was going to walk through it. And as I turned to walk through this door, there it all went again. All came down, and I realized I had a dream. Yet the entire time, I said it over 10 times at least, because I didn't tell you as I was saying them. Every time I kept saying, I'm having a vision. I'm having a vision. This is a vision. If there are such things as a night vision, that was one of them. Now to the interpretation. Some of it's pretty self-explanatory. My wife's asleep. Think spiritually, folks. There's a lot of there's symbolism throughout all of this. Though she's bothered. She's not waking up, but she's really bothered. Ahead of me in this place. Ahead of me in the future. This place is going to be dead. Where is this place? This is the Springs, folks. Colorado Springs, where NORAD is. This place is just going to be dead. That's all I'm going to tell you. Lights are going to be out. And there's not going to be anybody around. This place will be vacated. Behind me in the past, what had been going, considering this is September of 2022. 2022. What had been happening 2020, 2021, 2022, America has been strung up. She's dead, folks. What was an eagle has now changed over in 2021, 2022 to a scavenger. She's a blackened raven, scavenging. No longer the bald eagle, folks. We don't produce, we don't manufacture, we simply scavenge everything from everybody else. Are you following are you seeing the interpretation? America's dead, but it has been a scavenger for all to see. And I verified that it was an eagle, but it's a scavenger, and there is a door that at least I'm getting ready to walk through, and I believe we're all getting ready to walk through, that we haven't been through yet. And that's the interpretation of the dream, and I'd add a little more to it, where it makes it even more controversial for some of you. John Paul Jackson said, if America did not repent in 2021, America would be a third world nation. And I think since 2021, we've seen just that happen. And we are no longer an eagle. We are no longer America. We scavenge. And we're dead. And where it becomes even more controversial, that I'm probably not going to dive into, but for some of you that follow the channel, the ending of 2019, I had, for 2 weeks it lasted, up to 2 weeks, maybe about a week and a half, I kept seeing a package. And it was 2021. And it lasted until I finally said one day, I said, 2021, it's all wrapped up. Now, without explaining any more of that, because I think the interpretation now, because I never understood it, it really frustrated me. I kept trying to interpret what this thing was. When this dream happened, this night encounter, this vision, if there ever was a night vision. You see why I didn't want to say anything? Because I know I'm going to get flack. You're just, that's why I almost did not tell you what I have experienced. And when I told my wife what I experienced, she said, well, you say there's portals. Look at the place, look at the house. No wonder you're having these dreams, is what she said. And it all made sense why that type of spiritual activity is happening there, to when you go there and you're around it, your gifts come alive or things happen supernaturally. And I now see the package as best as I can tell without diving too much into it, because I talked about it before. I'm not about to bring up old things again, rehash things that were controversial. I believe America died. It was all wrapped up. It was all wrapped up for her in 2021. Look for more to come. Until next time, take care and God bless.